Today, we're diving into a short, ancient letter that has some massive implications. It's written to the Church of Philadelphia in the book of Revelation, and it's unique. It contains zero criticism, only praise, and a promise that has fascinated people for centuries.
So let me just ask you this. What if Jesus himself wrote a report card for your church, and there was nothing on it but praise? No corrections, no warnings, just pure commendation. I mean, that's a powerful thought, right?
Well, you know, among the 7 famous churches of Revelation, one stands completely alone in receiving exactly that, the church at Philadelphia. They were praised for getting it right, and because of that faithfulness, they got some of the most profound promises in all of Scripture. And to really get why, we first have to understand where they were living. To really understand the letter, you have to understand the city, because the physical reality of Philadelphia makes the spiritual promises Jesus gives them absolutely electrifying. Just look at the contrast here. The city's identity was brotherly love. It was a gateway for missionary work, but its reality was constant fear. A huge earthquake in 1780 just shattered the region, and for years after, aftershocks were a normal part of life. Can you imagine living where the ground is literally shaking under your feet all the time? So, keep that image locked in your mind, a city of falling pillars and just constant uncertainty. Because when you see the promises Jesus makes, you'll realize they were perfectly tailored for people who longed for something, anything that was permanent and unshakable.
And this is exactly why Jesus introduces himself the way he does. Before he says anything else, he uses titles that speak directly to their need for stability and ultimate authority.
He calls himself the Holy One and the True One. I mean, that's the very definition of reliable and genuine. But then he uses this really specific title that's just packed with Old Testament meaning. The one who holds the key of David. So what in the world does that mean?
Well, this is a direct callback to the book of Isaiah, chapter 22. See, the king's treasurer held a key that symbolized his authority to either grant or deny access to the king's presence. So by claiming this key, Jesus is declaring that he has absolute sovereign authority over God's kingdom. He and he alone decides who gets in. And here's the bottom line. In a world of failing structures and shaky ground, Christ shows up and says, I am the one true authority. The doors he opens, they stay open. The doors he shuts, they stay shut. His authority is final.
Okay, so let's move on to the commendation. You'd probably think a church getting this kind of praise must have been a powerhouse, right? A megachurch of its day. But the reality was the complete opposite.
And this is what's so stunning. Jesus himself acknowledges they had little strength. They weren't a big, wealthy, or politically connected group. No, they were small, probably overlooked, pretty much insignificant by the world's standards. And yet, look at the praise. He says, because of their faithfulness, he set an open door for ministry right in front of them. And what did they do? With their little bit of strength, they did 2 absolutely crucial things. They kept his word, and they did not deny his name. They were loyal when it counted, and that mattered more than anything else. And because of that loyalty, they receive what a lot of people consider to be one of the most significant prophetic promises in the entire New Testament. This is where things get really, really fascinating. Jesus says, because you have kept my command to persevere, I also will keep you from the hour of trial that is going to come upon the whole world. Now, every single word in that promise is critical. So let's just break this down. The phrase keep you from uses the Greek word ek, which means out of, implying removal. It's not just about being protected during a trial, but being taken out of it. And notice, it's not an hour of testing, it's the hour, a very specific, defined period of time. And finally, its scope isn't local. It's coming upon the whole world.
So when you put all that together, many interpreters see this verse as a direct promise of what's often called the rapture, the idea that the faithful church will be physically removed from the earth before that specific global period of trial known as the tribulation even begins.
But the promises don't stop there. For those who overcome, the rewards are deeply personal and, again, just perfectly tailored to their situation.
Remember the earthquakes, the falling buildings? Jesus promises, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. What an incredible image of permanence and security.
I mean, this gets right to the heart of the message. To people who lived in constant fear of everything collapsing, Jesus offers the one thing they craved most, a permanent, secure place where they would belong forever and go out no more. And as a final sign of this eternal belonging, he promises to write 3 names on them,
the name of his God, the name of the New Jerusalem, and his own new name. This is the ultimate mark of ownership, identity, and an intimate relationship.
So, what's the big takeaway from this incredible letter? What does it call us to today? The central lesson is just unmistakable. The Church of Philadelphia proves that God's metric for success isn't our strength, our size, or our influence. It's our faithfulness. It's about keeping His word and not denying His name, even when we feel like we have very little to offer. That same Jesus, the one who holds the key of David, still opens doors that no one can shut. He still provides opportunities for us to be faithful. And that leaves all of us with one final piercing question to reflect on. Are we holding fast?